everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Tamara and today I'm going to talk about why I joined the Air Force, give a little history of just me and why I joined, why I got out, and to give some quick pros and cons for anyone who is thinking about joining the Air Force or anyone who is thinking about joining the military in general. Okay, so a little backstory about me. My father was in the Marines. My father's father was in the Navy. So when I talked to my dad about joining the military, he was like, yeah, you need to either go Navy or Air Force. He didn't really want me to do anything that requires too much like combat and out in the field, which typically if you're in the Marines from the Army, you're out in the field a lot. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So I did my research and I was like, okay, I want to join the Air Force. So at the time when I decided I wanted to join the Air Force, I was a bit older. I joined at 22. I didn't go away to basic training until I was 23. But I already had my first degree. I had my first degree in psychology. And it was a little disheartening for me because I found out that I could not be an officer in the Air Force with my degree in psychology. I had to have a doctoral degree or PhD in psychology. So that was disheartening. I did find out that I could join pretty much any other branch and become an officer with my degree in psychology. But I decided I didn't want to do that. I wanted to stick with the Air Force, and then maybe get another degree. And if I decided to, come in as enlisted, which I did, and then transition to officer, and then I would do so. However, I have come to learn that doing that is a little bit more hard. It's a little bit more challenging than just coming straight in as an officer. But anywho, so got my degree in psychology. Went ahead and joined the Air Force. Had my degree in psychology. So when I went to basic training, I think I was automatically an E3 because of my degree in psychology. Now, I was a little bit older, so I actually went away to basic training on my 23rd, the day after my 23rd birthday. So it was like February 17th. My birthday is in February. So anywho, so one thing about joining the military, and joining the Air Force, joining the military, being a little bit older, some pros and cons. I feel like I was a bit more mature. A lot of the women who I joined with were like, some of them were 17, some of them were 18. I was a little bit more mature. I had my own apartment, I had my own house. I had lived a little bit more. So I was a little bit more mature to be able to handle certain things. I knew that, okay, hey, this is my goal. This is something I have to do. Failure is not an option. People were getting, I think it was called held back, meaning like, let's say, when I went, I think it was 8 weeks. So let's say if you did something or if they felt like you weren't progressing in the way that they felt like you need to progress to join the Air Force, they would hold you back a week. So people were being medically discharged, being medically held, being held back a week. And I was just like, oh no, I came here for a reason. I need to do what I need to do. So I tried to stay like laser focused on what I wanted to do. And I felt like my age helped me in my experience. Not saying that everybody who's older is just completely mature, because that's not true. But I do feel like for me, that helped me. That was a little bit more of an advantage for me. But also, I will say too, for people, I'm sorry, when I joined the Air Force, I joined the Air Force Reserve. I did not join active duty. I wanted to go back to school and get my master's degree. I wanted to go to the school in my area, so I kind of had a plan. I didn't want to go active duty. I didn't want to be stationed somewhere else. I didn't want to be sent somewhere else. I had already applied to my master's program. I was already accepted, so I had a plan. So I knew exactly what base I was going to. I knew my job, everything, before I went to basic training. A lot of people who join active duty, they don't know what their job's going to be. They don't know where they're going to be stationed. I already knew all of that. Also, because I was older too, so I kind of had my life already kind of planned out. I didn't want to be stationed everywhere and travel the world. Like, I didn't really want to do that because I wanted to go back to school. So I had my life kind of planned out. But for people who are younger, I will say, if you want to travel and if you're not so sure what you want to do with your life and you're interested in serving the country, why not go ahead and join and do at least 4 years. You do 4 years of active duty service, you can get your GI Bill. Now, me being a reservist, I did 6 years, so I do get a GI Bill, but my GI Bill is only towards the times that I was on like active duty orders, versus someone having a full 100% GI Bill for doing 4 years. So I had to do 6 years. And I also do get my VA home loan. I'm able to use my VA home loan. And I believe doing active duty, you have your VA home loan after doing 4 years. But I believe being a reservist, and in the comments, you can tell me am I wrong, because I enlisted when I was in 2013. So, but you had to do 6 years, if I'm not mistaken, as a reservist to get your benefits, to get your GI Bill, to get your VA home loan. So that's why I was like, yeah, I'm doing 6 years because I want to go ahead and get all those benefits. So anywho, went to basic training, went to tech school. My job was a medical logistician, meaning I ordered medical supplies. I put up pharmaceuticals. In the terms, we call it loggy. I was a loggy, pretty much. I did not care too much for that degree field. In the civilian world, I'm a social worker, so it's like a complete day and night. And I was on my feet a lot when I first joined. And I had to do my training. When I came back, I had to do training. I forgot what it's called. I think it's called like career training or some type of training. I'm sorry, y'all. I can't remember what it's called. But I was on my feet a lot. In my boots. I had to get inserts put in my boots. I was constantly on my feet in a warehouse. So yeah, I didn't really care too much for that job. My unit was medical, so I helped them out as much as I could. But I was like my supervisor, but it was only like 2 of us loggies. But anywho. So I didn't really care too much for my career field, but I did choose it. So that's one plus about being in the reserves. You can choose your career field. Active duty, they kind of give you what you get, and also depends on your ASVAB, on your score. So make sure you study and try to do the best that you can when it comes to that. I'm looking down, guys, because I wrote some stuff down. I said my story. I said what my job description was. Okay, so fast forward, why I got out. So I did 6 years. At the time when I joined, I was single. So, and also I went back to school, got my master's degree in social work. Graduated with my master's degree in social work in 2017. My enlistment was up in 2019. Got married, had my son in 2018. I married someone who's active duty Navy. So my unit was talking about deploying, and also I kind of had a hard pregnancy. Whole nother story. So I chose to, we don't have a whole lot of family here where we are to be able to watch my son. We had to do a family care plan. So it was just a lot. So I chose to get out and not renew my enlistment because I didn't want my son to have to deal with both parents being away. And that's something also to consider. They call that like male to male, dual male to male, if one person is in the military, other person is in the military. Now, some people might not consider that dual male to male if it's reservist and active duty, but that's what we consider that as. I still consider it as. And I don't want to take that risk. Like I said, my father was in the Marines, and I know what it was like to have a parent who was gone a lot. And I just couldn't imagine being away from my baby, both of us being gone, both of us being away. So yeah, I didn't want to have to deal with that. I didn't want to have to deal with leaving my son, my husband being deployed. I didn't want to have to deal with that. So I got out. Let me see what else. Okay, and also, like I said, my degree, I couldn't become an officer with my degree field, but I also kind of want to give you some pros and cons about joining. Of course, pros and cons for active duty. You get your VA home loan 4 years. You get your GI Bill 4 years. You get your BAH, which is housing. You get your BAS, which is food. Typically, though, in order to get your own housing and food allowance, I believe, depending, sometimes it could be an E4, but generally it's an E5. So typically, if you're single and you need a place to stay, you have to stay in what's called the barracks. I don't know if that's what they still call it, because I never lived there. They call it like the barracks, which is like military housing. But generally, sometimes if you're an E4, but generally when you're an E5, or if you get married, you get to live out on your own. I definitely would not recommend anybody to hurry up and get married and get a family just because you want to get out the barracks and you want to get your BAH and your BAS. Like, no, please do not do that. Don't do that. I know I didn't have to live there, but I'm married, and it's a commitment. You have to work. You have to get to know the person. To me, that's not a good enough reason to hurry up and get married just so you won't have to live in the barracks. No. But yeah, so that's a pro though. You get BAH, BAS. Now, if you're in the reserves, you don't get any of that. Okay, that's the difference. If you're a reservist, you do not get BAH and BAS. The only time as a reservist you get BAH and BAS if you're deployed or on orders. And typically it depends on how your orders are cut. If I'm not mistaken, it's 30 days or more. So yeah, you don't get that as a reservist. Reservist, you do get your GI Bill, but I believe it's after 6 years. You can use your tuition assistance. And I believe there was a law that was just passed. If I can find it, I might put it in the description or maybe insert it. I think it's your GI Bill and tuition assistance at the same time. So when I was going to school to get my master's degree, you can only use your tuition assistance, and you cannot use your GI Bill. And at the time, I did not know I even had a GI Bill. That's a whole nother story. I'm gonna make a whole separate video about that. But I didn't even know I had a GI Bill, so I just used my tuition assistance. But if I could have used my tuition assistance and my GI Bill, it would have helped me like tremendously, okay? Tremendously. But yeah, so those are the pros for being active duty. Kind of the cons if you go reservist. But a pro for being reservist is you can stay in the area that you live in. Generally, you choose your job description. You already know what you're going to do. If you want to stay with your family, you can. My unit was non-deployable at the time. When I got out, they were getting ready to gear us up to deploy, get us deployable ready. But when I joined, we were non-deployable, which is very rare, very rare, excuse me. Usually you're going to be attached to a unit or somewhere that you're going to deploy. There's a chance that you may deploy. What else about a reservist? So yeah, that's the pros, you know, for being a reservist. You still get your GI Bill. You have to do 6 years. It's not as much as if you were to do active duty, unless you were to be deployed for a long time or on orders for a long time. Then your percentage may increase. But you do not get BAH, you do not get BAS unless you're on order somewhere. Let me see. I wrote down some more stuff. I talked about BAH and BAS. Let me see. I feel like that's really it. Some tips I would say is if you want to join the military, just know what you signed up for. There's gonna be, I feel like the military is kind of like the civilian world too, because I've had the best of both worlds. I've worked in, you know, of course, the military and civilian wide. So it's funny to me because you deal with both, you know, like you understand both. There's the same type of people in the civilian world. There's the same type of people in military world. The only thing being in military as well is, of course, you have to, you know, respect your senior enlisted and people that are over you. You have to keep your military bearing. So you may not be able to speak as freely as you could in the civilian world. And that kind of was a struggle for me because I'm a social worker and I like to advocate. I like to speak my mind, of course, professionally and respectfully. But in the military, I couldn't really I could say it, but it was like, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. You know, what a smile, keep moving. And inside, I wanted to speak up, you know? So yeah, you have to be mindful of that. But hey, I mean, if you're young or even if you're older and if you just want to go in for 4 years and, you know, and do that. And sometimes in special instances, you may be able to do a 2-year contract. I have heard that. I think that's kind of rare. Oh, and to back up, I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to tell you this. My career field was 6 weeks in tech school. So I think I had the shortest tech school next to, was it culinary or something with cooking or something? I think there's 4 weeks. But mine was only 6 weeks. So it went by so fast. It went by really, really quick. Some tech schools are pretty lengthy. And do you get BAH and BAS in tech school? I think you do. You don't get BAS because I was living in it wasn't a hotel, but of course kind of the barracks where I was at. But you do get BAH a little bit. You don't get the full BAH. I think unless you're married, but I'm speaking from a single person standpoint. At that time I was single. I was not married. But yeah, so other really quick tips. And if you want me to make a video about this, I will make a video about tips to prepare you for getting out of the military. If you get hurt, if you get wounded, please make sure you keep all of your documentation. Like I said, being a loggy, I was always on my feet. I had to get inserts. I had to go to a doctor about my feet. My feet are I don't want to say they're bad, but I have problems with my feet now. Oh, and I have problems with my back. So make sure you keep all your documentation. Make sure you keep everything documented. so that when you get out, you know, if there was an issue that happened with you while you were in the military, you can have it documented and possibly be able to qualify for VA disability. And I can go in a whole nother video talking about VA disability. And what else? And use your benefits. Like if you know, can get a degree, sometimes it's hard to work, you know, be active duty or, you know, do that and go to school. But if you can, go ahead and get it, you know, utilize everything that they have for you, you know, go ahead and get a degree, even if it's one class at a time. I'm getting my doctoral degree. I took 2 classes last semester. I think it was a mini term A, mini term B, 1 class each. You know, it may take me some time. And also, like I said, I didn't know I had a GI Bill. So once I found out I had my GI Bill, I already knew I wanted to go back to school to get my doctorate. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to use that, you know. So I'm using it, even though I'm not doing like a full course load, a full course like I did when I was getting my master's. But hey, take your time. Same goes for you guys if you want to join the military and you get your GI Bill. If you have to take 1 class at a time, take 1 class at a time. But do that. Have a backup plan. Understand the military isn't forever. For some people, they do get a chance to retire, but let's say one day they're like, hey, you got to get out. We have so many people in the military. You got to go. That has happened. I have seen that. I have been on orders with people who have been told like, hey, you got to get out. What are you going to do? What's going to be your backup plan? For some people, they plan to do 20 years. And great. If that's what you want to do, you can do a full 20 years. Let's say somebody joins at 18. You can do a full 20 years, retire by 38, and do a whole nother career and retire again by 50 or 55, depending on how the retirement works, and have 2 retirements. Not including if you get VA disability, something happens to you, like, and not including if you do the oh my goodness, if you do the retirement plan. I'm trying to think of the thrift savings plan. If you do that, there's so many different ways that you can set yourself up, you know, for the long haul. Think about that, the long haul. How can I set myself up? If you're married with a family, how can I set my children up? Be smart. If you have, you know, a GI Bill, go ahead and use it. Or hey, some people don't want to go to school. I believe it'll also pay for a trade certifications. You can also transfer it down to your family, but just utilize it. And I do apologize, guys, if this video was all over the place. I've been wanting to make this video for so long. And I was like, you know what? I'm wearing my shirt today. I'm actually about to go to the gym. I have this on, though, because I like to represent, okay? I have this shirt, 2 sizes. This is my little small one. I have the extra large one. But I'm on my way to the gym. So excuse me if you see my sports bra showing. But I was like, you know what? Let me come on. I want to do this video. I want to make this video because I've been wanting to do it for a long time. I'm sorry, I know I talk fast, I know I ramble, but if you have any other questions in regards to this topic, if you want to talk about how it was for me being a Black woman in the military, how it was for me being a Black woman with natural hair in the military when I joined, because when I joined, having natural hair was not the thing. It was not the thing. I was like the outlier, okay? I can talk about that as well, or any other questions that you may have that I can help with. Please leave some comments and I'll make a follow-up video. I really hope this video helps someone. That's why I like to make these videos like this, is to help answer any questions that you may have. There might be some things on the internet that you haven't been able to find. If you have any other questions, you know, please, like I said, leave a comment. I can make a follow-up video. And I hope you all have a great day, and thank you for watching.